Greetings, my fellow hunters, and welcome again. And to celebrate the new year, I will be doing something I haven't done in a while, a movie review. Hence why, as for this new year, I will be reviewing the Bleach adaptation on Netflix. And I know what you're thinking. Why are you doing a review of a movie adaptation of a popular manga? Well, I haven't done a movie in a while, and I thought, let's do it. So, my hunters, as I always say, let the hunt begin. I know what you're thinking. Does the movie adapt the manga? Well, and the answer is sort of, if maybe a little bit. It does take a few liberties in the story. That's the best way I can explain. Basically, there was this character who was Quincy. I can't remember his name. He had glasses, just like yours truly. And, well, you know, in the series, he basically, how do I put this? He blackmailed Ichigo in killing Hollows. Well, this takes a slight deviancy, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So, what is the story of the Bleach movie? The story of Bleach basically follows the adventures of Ichigo Kurosaki, who happenstance basically has the ability to see ghosts and interact with. So basically, with a chance encounter with a reaper named Rukia Kuchiki, and just for the record, Rukia is a soul reaper, and soul reapers are basically reapers of the dead. They take souls and ferry them off to the afterlife in order to be judged. They also hunt hollows, a sort of monster or mutated spirit filled with grudge, out to just basically eat other spirits to gain strength and power, and so it's down to the reapers to basically exercise them. So, basically, Rukia, by chance encounter, met our protagonist Ichigo, and through a unparticular encounter with a hollow, gives her powers to Ichigo in order to become a Soul Reaper, but due to certain events, she can't get her powers back, and so it is down to him, Ichigo Kurosaki, in order to defeat the powerful hollow known as, I think it was Kingfisher, I think it was his name. I can't remember very well. I could look it up, but I think it was Kingfisher. But nonetheless, he must defeat Kingfisher to save more hollows. Well, not hollows, spirits, because Kingfisher coincidentally has a interaction with him in the past because Kingfisher was the one who killed his mother. So this is basically a pseudo-revenge, how do I put it? I think I would say maybe a mission arc, so or just basically a pseudo-revenge story, because it's not the main focus, and it wasn't until later down the line that we figure out that Kingfisher killed Ichigo's mother, and frankly, it's fine. Nothing dramatic to say. If you watched or read the manga or anime, it hits the same notes. It does miss a few points, though, as some are rushed, or characters undeveloped, or just entire plot points that were introduced in the manga basically get scooted over as to fit in a 1-hour movie. And people wonder why I hate adaptations that do this. If you've got such a long series, best not to do it, because you're going to be probably cutting out important plot threads, and I'm going to give a spoiler warning right now, so move ahead if you don't want to. Basically, if you think there's going to be a setup to the Rukia retrieval arc, you'd be wrong, because in the movie, Rukia gets her powers back and then mind wipes everyone she interacted with so that no one remembers her. And now what you're thinking, that doesn't sound like anything like the manga, and you'd be correct. As I explained previously, it just goes for an alternate ending instead of setting up for the retrieval arc that was supposed to be after the events of the first arc in the series. I'm not someone to think that this is bad, but when you're doing an adaptation of a beloved series like Bleach, you think you'd hit the points that are important, such as that part. But besides that, it's not too bad, and frankly, could be worse, could be better. So in my book, the story gets a pass somewhat. Though, like I said, don't expect a point-by-point retelling of the Bleach manga, because you're certainly not getting that. If I ever do a Bleach review, the first season, because I'm not reviewing the whole thing. I'm not insane. I might just basically take the characters from this review and just plop it into that one, because frankly, they're just carbon copies, expected from an adaptation, but seriously, they're just basically the same, and so, hence why, unfortunately, due to the fact that this is a movie and there's only so limited characters, I'll be focusing on the main two. And I know what you guys are thinking. Hunter, you normally do 3 or 4 characters, but why only 2 this time? Because the movie doesn't have any other characters I can dissect. So the problem is that it's not because of the lack of quality, but the lack of quantity for once. So yeah, we'll start off with Ichikoku Kurosaki and then we'll finish off with Rukia, because frankly, those are the only 2 noted characters in this entire movie. So, as I said before, we'll start off with Ichikoku Kurosaki. Do I keep saying his name wrong? But I think it's Ichikoku Kurosaki. Besides the point. Basically, Ichigo is just basically your stock anime protagonist. He's just a roughhouser who basically lost his mother, and also likes to fight and cares for the weak and innocent people. So basically, he's a stock anime character, and I feel like that's all I can basically explain. I did watch a part of the manga, watch the anime, so I know that he gets more development over time, but speaking in the context of this movie, he's just really bog standard. He learns that, okay, maybe over time, he does learn to understand that his innate actions do cause problems for people because the hollows will devour innocent spirits. So unless he actively tries to help the spirits, regardless of who they are, they will be basically eaten. So yes, he does learn that over time, that he needs to, even if he doesn't want to, he has to step in and be the hero. And this is where I'm going to be a little bit problematic, because frankly, it feels so rushed that I feel like there was no build-up or payoff. Something you have to sacrifice to basically a movie. But yeah, I think frankly, he's fine. So yeah, he's fine. I'll make sure to edit that out if I ever do a dissection on the actual Bleach anime. So, besides that, he's fine. Stock character, meh. Rukia, for me, is a difficult character for me to dissect. Henceforth, it's going to be a pretty short one, but what I'm saying is that because she has a weird personality, she acts like a child sometimes, and it feels forced, but that's kind of expected since she's probably older than even me. But on the other hand, she's also strict and very adamant about Ichigo fighting Kingfisher. But yeah, overall I can say about Rukia's personality. Can I just say she's a tsundere and move on? Yeah, I think I'll say it. She's a tsundere. Moving on. So my overall thoughts on the characters are just, if you've seen the movie, I think you could say that they've come somewhat unscathed in a lot of things. They look fine, they act fine, a bit dramatic, but that's anime for you. So I gotta say, I could give them a pass in the anime department. If they're talking about adaptations, they're fine. Again, I couldn't really complain much, since I've only watched like 1 or 2 of the seasons of the original series. So, this is one of the rare series that I should have probably not started with, but hey, I'm a hunter that's got to review things, and I did watch the original. So, yeah, let's move on to the first ever costume design, shall we? I am, for one, and how do I put this? Just jarred at the costume designs. Not because they look good, but because, in my opinion, they look like ridiculous cosplays. For goodness sakes, there's not even visual consistency among the cast. Okay, you know in the series Ichigo has orange hair, correct? And basically, I think his mother also had orange hair. One of his sisters had orange hair. But here's a kicker. Ichigo is the only person in his family that has orange hair. So there's a bit of a visual inconsistency here, and I kinda don't like it. It's really jarring for me that I can see his sisters who have black hair. Well, obviously one of them had black hair and the other had orange, but both of them are black hairs instead of one of them having orange. It's a bit jarring at times, and it kind of makes me difficult to visually distinct them at times, and that's an important for a movie. You gotta visually distinct characters. And don't get me started with the costumes. Oh my god, by the old ones, they look horrible. I know looks is a subjective thing, but frankly, they look like something like your failed cousin's anime cosplay project. They look ridiculous to a degree. And I understand they look ridiculous in the manga and the anime, But when you're in basically animation or 2D, you can skip a few things, and it doesn't look silly, but the costumes, like I said, look utterly ridiculous. One of the characters, has big red hair, and I thought, that can't be seriously what his wig is. That is ridiculous. It looked on the silly side. And don't get me started with the sword props. I don't know if they were unwilling to make actual swords that size, because it wouldn't hurt, would it? But I can easily tell they're plastic. Even then, it looks ridiculous. Their size are ridiculous. I understand it was in the manga and anime, but that's my point. They look impractical to use, and frankly, they're redundant. So yeah, overall my thoughts on the costumes could be better, but isn't exactly that bad as much as I've been harping on it. At least it looks visually like the series, so that's that, minus a few hiccups. I can confidently say that the movie's costume gets a slightly below average pass. Nonetheless, I think the last part, the CGI, is going to be a bit on the separate. The CGI and the effects are, how do I put it, fine. They're not exactly horrible, or they're not, how do I put this? They're not that bad, frankly. So I can say that. The CGI looks competent, the hollows look horrifying, and thankfully they didn't look too bad when they transferred from 2D, so it didn't really go down the uncanny valley too far, but it just hit the uncanny valley, unfortunately, so that's why I feel like the hollows look horrifying. But then again, they're hollows. I think that's the point. They're supposed to be visually monstrous to emphasize the point that they're just corrupt souls full of grudge and malice. So yeah, frankly, the CGI gets a pass, and the effects look fine. There's nothing really for me to complain much. The way the cameras are angled are basically fine. There's nothing for me to complain much. They're bog standard, basic, and don't really do anything to innovate the series. So frankly, fine. I can say with a passing grade they're fine. Not so much, unfortunately, I think, for the music. As I said, I find that the music is kinda, what's the word I'm looking for? Forgetful. Nothing in the tracks actually stood out to me that I can actually say blew my mind or just make me go, that's actually some good music. Nothing of the sort actually made me do that. And this is, again, where the very few times where the music does that. I think the other time was, Burn the Witch. Can't remember. Check out that review, by the way. I'll leave the thing up here. So yeah. But anyway, Burn the Witch. Bleach. No surprise, it's set in the same universe. But anyway, my point is this. The music is forgetful. I can't even remember if they used any music from the original anime. So, yeah, this is probably not the fault of the series, but myself, because... Actually, no, I think it's also part the series, part myself, because, frankly, nothing really stuck to me and wormed its way into my ears. So, yeah, if you enjoyed the music, I'm glad. Leave a comment down below why I'm so wrong about the music and why it's fantastic, because I will love to read them. Anyway, with that said, I think I'm ready to finalize my thoughts. So, my final thoughts on the Bleach adaptation movie? I'm a bit mixed on saying go watch it or not go watch it. On one hand, if you're a fan of the series, I feel like you're gonna be a bit disappointed that some elements that it completely misses, and that if you're not a fan of the series and this is your first time watching the series, you might be completely confused on what the hell is going on. So my recommendation, go watch it with a bit of cautious and see how your opinions form in the first 5 minutes of the series, because that could make or break it that you will like it or not. And frankly, as a fan of the series, not a fan of the series, correction, I only got the basics of the idea because of how I understand how the thing works. Like I said, I fear for anyone that hasn't an understanding of the Bleach series. I think this, my hunters, was my more complicated videos, because frankly it's really difficult. But nonetheless, I think, yeah, go watch it, but be cautious on the cautious side, because I feel like that's the best way to put it. But anyway, my hunters, thank you for watching my new video for the new year, as I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, follow, ring the small bell icon, and basically follow me on Twitter, and links down to my Discord below, and my Twitch, because I stream there occasionally. So if you want to see me just basically play some games, or get basically, how do I put this, kicked about by playing some Souls games, please please follow me on that because I do enjoy playing those games. But anyway, my fellow hunters, thank you for watching. I appreciate this, as it always helps. And as I always say, may the good blood guide your way.